A lot of parents get it confused, this concept of control, where they think that they control their children. And I have to tell them, you don't. You never have control. To me, it's not about control. It's more about influence. When your kids are really small, the influence seems so strong that it damn near looks and feels like control. But it's not. It's because they're small. What I think happens a lot is there's a lot of experience and wisdom that we end up missing out on. And then as parents, we end up kind of falling into the same pitfalls with our kids. We can, right? And then we put the risk of that relationship with them. And I say it like that because in my opinion, you all can tell me if you agree, and you don't have to. We have the responsibility to cultivate the relationship with the child. It's not the other way around. What would you say?
Wait, will you say that again?
I said, for us as parents, it is our responsibility to cultivate and create the relationship between us and our children.
Definitely. Yeah.
I totally agree because I'm really the only parent.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I say that because, and I like connecting things and themes, okay? So when you mentioned earlier about your dad, when I think about, okay, parents that are physically present, but mentally and emotionally absent, right? Unfortunately, this is my experience. Unfortunately, physical presence doesn't ensure a relationship. There's no guarantee. Just because you're there every day, like we're sitting down here, right? And we're having meals every day. That doesn't guarantee a relationship. That does not predict a good relationship. It actually requires you to talk.
It does, because that's what happened to me and my dad. He was exactly like that.
My dad too. You're here, you're paying the bills, but where are you?
Right.
And
My father was no different.
And I'm asking you for help, and I just don't get it.
Right. And that's what I mean. That's why, and it's beautiful that we're all parents, so we can appreciate this. And for the parents out there, hopefully you guys are taking something from this. I think a lot of us have that confused. Like I've literally had to challenge parents who like blame their kids. Like, well, I don't understand why he doesn't come talk to me. I don't understand why she doesn't want to talk to me about this issue. And I'm like, listen, you have to create the comfort. People in general, right? People in my experience do not just go talk to somebody that they don't know or they don't feel comfortable with. Is that fair for me to say?
I say that to my dad to this day.
Okay.
Because him and my older brother, and I'd be like, you need to, you.
Correct.
And
And I agree. It's our responsibility. Why? Because they didn't ask to be here. We made them be here. So we have the responsibility to make sure that we create an open and inviting environment so that they want to share. You can't make anybody share.
Right.
Even your kids, even when they're young. And let me touch on one more thing, just because this is something I like to always get to, especially because your kids are young. My son's a little older now. A lot of parents get it confused, this concept of control. Because I've had to challenge a lot of parents on this idea too, where they think that they control their children. And I have to tell them, you don't. You never have control. The only people we control, I would argue, is ourselves.
Oh, yeah.
But when our kids are really small, I felt like this because my he's a big military guy. I was intimidated until I was about 16. So I would do anything he told me to do because I was just, quite honestly, I was scared. But then there comes a point where that don't matter no more. And now all of a sudden that control seems like it's vanished. I would make the point, to me, it's not about control. It's more about influence. When your kids are really small, the influence seems so strong that it damn near looks and feels like control. But it's not. It's because they're small. Then they start getting bigger. Do either of you have boys?
They're both boys.
Okay. All right. Shout out to all the sons. Boys can be a handful. Not that they're worse than girls. There's just different challenges, right? Particularly, I'm sure I haven't fully dealt with it yet, but I feel it coming. Particularly when hormones come into play, and puberty comes into play, and adolescence comes into play. When they're small, it's a little easier. But I'm making that point because, again, it's our responsibility to make those relationships so they want to come and talk to us about things. What I see a lot happen to young boys, and it always starts when they're small, is we'll say things like let's say, I know you guys don't have one, but let's just say we all had daughters, and they're all playing right now, and they fall, right? We're gonna be, oh, okay, sweetie, come here. Sit down. What's wrong? I want to rub their knee, right? You want me to put some peroxide on, put a little Band-Aid on there, right? And then if it's our sons, what do? Get up and stop crying.
Yep.
I don't want to stop those tears, man. Wipe it up,
Yeah.
right? Why do we do that? Some of us don't even recognize that we tell our sons that. And then this is the crazy part. And then we're shocked when they're older and they're in a relationship or they want to date a woman and they're like, Mom, Dad, she wants to talk about all this feeling stuff. So I just run. I don't want to talk about that. It makes me super uncomfortable, right? It started when they were small.
I never thought of it that way.
And again, it's different because, and I don't expect you all to fully know that because you're not men. So you don't know what it's like to be a little boy, but you are raising young men. So I do think it's important to illustrate that point. And I like to talk about it a lot. It's the reason why I'm extremely careful how I talk to my son. Because I know what it's like to be disrespected. I know what it's like to be physically abused, masking as consequences and discipline. I know what that's like because that's all I dealt with. I know there's better ways to handle things. And particularly when you have young men, this is an area I'm challenging all of us in because this starts with us. We actually have the ability to make this better. Me, you, and all of you out there that have sons, we have the opportunity to make this better, but it starts now. So when they do have those feelings, allow it to come out. Don't shame them. Don't make them feel bad about it. Don't use these words, and I'm not going to repeat them all, but don't throw those words out there that make them feel disrespected and diminished as a person. Everybody wants to feel. Everybody should be allowed to feel.